All right, so imagine this. What if an AI assistant could somehow magically give teachers an extra hour in their day? I mean, that sounds pretty amazing, right? Well, today we're diving deep into a pretty groundbreaking study that actually put that idea to the test. We're going to see what really happens when you drop an AI right into the middle of a classroom. So let's just get right to the heart of it. The big central question here is, can an AI actually be a teacher's best friend? Can it really help solve all those little everyday problems that just pile up and leave teachers feeling totally overwhelmed and just burnt out? Okay, but before we even talk about the solution, we really need to understand the problem. So just picture this for a second. A teacher basically chained their computer at the front of the room. Their back is to a classroom just packed with kids who are eager to learn. I mean, that's the reality for so many educators, right? They're trapped by the very tech that's supposed to be setting them free. So, in an effort to break those chains, a few school districts down in South Carolina did something really interesting. They decided to put an AI assistant on trial. This whole thing was called the Merlyn Mind STAR project, and it was basically this bold experiment to see if maybe, just maybe, this piece of technology could finally live up to its promise in the classroom. So, what exactly was this STAR pilot project? Well, here's the deal. For an entire school year, teachers across 3 different districts got their hands on this AI assistant called Merlyn Mind. And the goal? It was super simple, really. Just see if it could make a real difference for both the teachers and, of course, their students. And let me tell you, the results, they were pretty surprising. All right, so the big question is, what did the teachers who were actually in the trenches, using this thing every day, think about it? Well, the verdict came back, and it was, honestly, a resounding yes. The 2 words that just kept popping up over and over again in their feedback were freedom and efficiency. Okay, get this. A whopping 94% of the teachers said they would recommend Merlyn Mind to another teacher. Now, if you know anything about the world of edtech, you know that number is, well, it's practically unheard of. That is a huge signal that something here was really, really working. But it's one thing to see the numbers, and it's another to hear it directly from the teachers themselves. One of them put it so simply. They just said, "I don't know what I would do without it now." Wow. I mean, that's not just a positive review. That's a testament. That tells you this tool became absolutely essential in their classroom.
So, what was the secret sauce? Why was it so popular? Well, a huge part of it came down to one simple thing. It was easy to use. 95% of teachers agreed. And think about it. In a chaotic, busy classroom, if a new piece of tech is a pain to use, it's just not going to happen. It's a non-starter. This thing, though, it passed the test with flying colors.
And this next quote, this one really gets to the heart of the matter. This teacher said the mobility was amazing, letting them move freely around the room instead of running back and forth to the computer. See, it's not just about saving a few steps. It's about being present with your students right there in the moment without completely killing the flow of the lesson. That is a total game changer. And of course, the data completely backs this up. We're talking huge majorities here. 88% said it helped them maximize instructional time, 86% said it enhanced their productivity, and this is the big one for me, 89% said it increased their interaction with students. The tether to the desk was officially cut. So what were the features they loved the most? Well, the top ones were things like voice commands and the remote control for that mobility we talked about. But also simple stuff like setting timers and quick searching for answers. Just imagine, you're in the middle of a lesson, a kid asks a brilliant but totally random question. Instead of saying, good question, I'll look that up later, you can just ask the AI, pull up the answer, and keep the lesson moving. That's the kind of power we're talking about here. Okay, so we've established that the teachers were big fans. That's clear. But what about the students? I mean, did this tool that was really designed for the teacher, did it actually trickle down and make a difference in their experience? The answer from this study is a pretty clear yes. According to the teachers who were watching their classes every day, there was this massive jump in student engagement. Look at these numbers. 92% said students enjoyed learning more, 91% said they were more interested in class activities, and 90% said they participated more. I guess it makes sense, right? When a teacher is more dynamic and present, the students just naturally get more engaged. And hey, this wasn't just about kids having more fun in class. The teachers saw a real academic impact too. They reported that students were better at staying on task. That's a big one, 88% agreement there. And they saw students making better connections between concepts and understanding the material better. It really seems to have helped on all fronts.
Okay, but let's be real. It wasn't all sunshine and roses. I mean, we're talking about new technology in schools, right? There were definitely some bumps in the road. So now let's get into the reality check and take an honest look at the challenges.
So, was this a perfect magical tool that solved every problem? Well, the teachers were pretty quick to say, no, not quite. And honestly, their feedback on what needed to be fixed is just as valuable as all the praise. So if you look at the balanced view here, it's pretty clear. On the what worked side, big wins. It untethered teachers from their desks, saved precious instructional time, and it was easy to get started with. But the needs improvement column is just as important. Teachers were asking for more training and support. They ran into some annoying technical glitches with the remote and the voice commands. And they really wanted it to play nicer with the software they already use every day. So what were the biggest roadblocks? Why didn't everyone use it all the time? Well, the report identified the top 3 barriers. Number 1, a need for more training. Number 2, a lack of time to learn something new in the middle of a crazy school year. And number 3, just plain old technical problems getting the device to work right. Honestly, it's kind of the usual suspects when you roll out new tech in a school, isn't it? And the teachers, being the experts they are, had some fantastic recommendations for making the tool even better. Some of it was simple stuff, like adding a laser pointer to the remote. Others were bigger asks, like improving how well the device could hear commands in a noisy classroom, or adding more voice commands like minimize all windows. These seem like little tweaks, but for a teacher, they can make a huge difference in the daily workflow. All right, so let's pull back and look at the big picture. What does this whole Merlyn Mind experiment really tell us about the future of teaching and the role AI might play in it? I think the key takeaway is this. The promise of AI assistants in the classroom is significant. It's really there. This study shows they can be an incredibly powerful tool for teachers. But, and this is a really big but, success is not a given. It absolutely depends on having robust training, solid technical support, and a really thoughtful plan for how to integrate it into the classroom ecosystem. And it's definitely worth pointing out that all of this information, all these numbers and quotes, they come from the Merlyn Mind Star Pilot Project Final Evaluation Report. It was done by the University of South Carolina's Ream Center. So, this isn't just marketing fluff. It's based on some serious research. So we're left with this final big question. Is an AI assistant the future for every classroom? The answer is probably not. One size never fits all in education. But what this experiment clearly shows is that when it's done right, with the right support and the right tool, it can be an incredibly powerful way to help teachers get back to doing what they do best, teaching. And that, for sure, is a future worth exploring.